we're starting to have, I mean, still a small file, but we're starting to have some options here, and we want to add more. So basically our comment is going to have to start taking some flags, some options like this. So our comment would be this. And right now it's just taking like the input, right? Or not even, because here we're just hard coding the input. But we wanted to start taking things like the input file, maybe the type of file, something like this, like for bar or for lines, and a lot more options. So we want people to be able to customize how they use it. So to do this, we're gonna start doing command line argument parsing. So let's just create a new branch, and we will call this first options. Here it is. And then we're gonna add like some parsing. To do this, we use this Python standard parsing called argparse. Right, so here we can check the documentation, parser for command line options, arguments, and subcommands. So this is exactly what we want. Here is using with the help command. So basically, this provides some default functionality that is very useful, like having a help command, having descriptions of how the command is used, having like the short version and long version of the command. So we're gonna use this here. So to do this, we just import it here. Exactly. And let's see. We want to add a few options. So the first obvious one is the input file. So here we have an input file hard-coded, and every user of this library will have a different input, right? So we need to start adding some of this. So first of all, let's see this. We can get this argument parser with the description of the command. So in our case, let's add a small description for our command. So we can use this multi-line comment. Here, this argument parser doesn't take like line breaks and things like this. So if you want to format this customly, it needs to be done differently. So for now, this will be like a single line. Even if we type breaks, they won't show. So for instance, yeah, you will see now, but basically, if we write a description of our program, graph, spreadsheet, data easily. So this will be like the description. And then a more elaborate description like takes spreadsheet file, like CSV, XLS as input, and outputs an image, no? So outputs an image file. Image file, we said we wanted to support both bitmaps, so like PNG, JPEG, and vector, SVG. So this we can mention here. Outputs an image with graphs of the data contained in the file. So this is a good description of what our command is doing. Takes a spreadsheet and generates an image, right? With different kinds of spreadsheets, different kinds of images, but that's what it does. Now, if we run this, let's see if we can see already. Let's see. Is that just this last command? And then we'll add some options. This should already show something. So if we run, just a second. Yeah, so if we run our command with a help option. So these are standard of Unix. Then you can see here, it already outputs our description, like, and then optional arguments. There's only this one, right? We didn't add any other argument, so this is the only one. So what we want to do, and you can see here that this is like a single line. So even if we add here like new lines or just like this, it won't pick them up. Yeah, it still shows them as one line. There's options to do this, but for now we want to to focus on adding the options. Later, this can be customized a lot, so it can be done. But for now, we're interested in all this default behavior that this gives us for free. So let's take a look at what else we can do with this. We want to add some arguments, right? Here, there's some examples of the arguments. And there's a difference here that is like this first one is a positional argument. How we can tell if this is positional, and this is not positional, right? The second one. So the positional one doesn't start with dashes, basically. So let's just add a couple of arguments, right? You can just paste this. And we want to add, we set one argument for sure, it will be the input file. Because right now we're just hard coding it here, sales data, right? And this cannot be. So let's add the input file. Maybe like this, this meta bar type. All of this we don't need, these extra options. There's a lot of options here, but the options we don't need are, I mean, the help, which is nice, that it will generate automatically for us. We just put input file, and then the accepted files. So in this case, this CSV and XLS. And then there's this number of arguments. And what is this? So this can be like, if we check in the documentation, basically it can be like optional, 0 or 1, no, 1 or more, or many. Let's just check for a second. This is argparse. Okay, let's see if we can find it. Basically, this one means optional. This one means 1 or more. It's like a regular expression, right? And the asterisk means 0 or more. Exactly, so this one. So somewhere here, this is described. But I cannot find it. Maybe here. Exactly here. Of type. Well, the default is 1. Okay, maybe we can check here instead. Okay, perfect. Well, let's just say this one is like not optional, so it needs to be this one exactly. So this is like in a regular expression, this is 1 or more. So for now, let's just add this argument, the input file. It already has the help. And also let's create here, we had our run target. Let's create a help target so that anytime we want, we can see how the help looks like. And then the run argument, we can keep like this. So first, let's try the help command. So I type make help. And now we have also as a positional argument, because it doesn't start with dashes here, we have this already. So the help already shows us what it was showing us before, plus the input file parameter. So that's good. And then if we make like if we run the program, okay, it's breaking. Why? So we already get like a validation for free too. So it's breaking because we don't get this input file, right? And it's positional, it's not optional. So at least it needs to be 1. So what this means is that we need to start calling this correctly with a parameter. So here the parameter would be in this case sales data. And here we can already remove the sales data because now it's going to be a parameter, right? So what do we use? We can just use this input file. Yeah. So And this variable doesn't exist yet, so this needs an input file variable, and this is how we get the variable value. So basically, let's paint it. So input file, and I'll just exit here to not generate anything. So this is how we get the value, right? So we're printing it to confirm the value that it has. So let's just run it. And we can see here, it's not a string, but an array, right? We said in this definition that we're getting one or more. So what argparse is doing for us is just putting it in an array. So here we could get several, like sales data CSV, sales data 2.csv. It could be like this, and then we would get an array. Exactly. So instead, for now, we want to focus on just having one. So what we're going to do is just access straight away the first element. And we can see here that now we get what we expect, so just a string. And this string we will be able to use here. So now we can just remove all of this. And now it should work with the current command passing as an argument. So let's see. Make run. And here it is. It created the output folder. We can see that the image is generated. And here it is. Yeah. So here's our image, but this time with a command, with a past command. So we could call here with sales data. The user could run our command and then pass like my vacation data.csv, expenses.csv, example.xls, whatever they want. So it's actually using the command. And this is one of the commands we wanted to use, but another one that will come in handy soon is the type of graph. So right now we're painting just a bar graph, as we saw in the file here. But Plotly offers a lot more graphs, right? So we want to give this flexibility also to users using our command line. So let's just add this very quick. It's going to be similar to the argument that we added. So we just copy it. But we want to call it graph type. And this time, notice that we add here these dashes. So this will make it a non-positional argument. So it will need to be called by name. And in this case, this is optional. So this is the character for optional. And it needs a different help. So what help does it need? So let's just explain what it does. So we can use this syntax. There's like, this can be like a bar, a line, these two for now. And we can talk about the default. The default, let's say, is bar, so the same we were using until now. And we need to define this default also. So let's say here, there's a default parameter. And here we can just say the default is bar, right? So the help, what the help is telling us and the reality match. Then we can add this option, dest, which is which variable this will end up in, right? So in this case, I want to end this in a variable. I want this to end in a variable called graph type, like this. Okay, so let's just take a quick look at where this variable ends up. So first, first we can run the help. There's a mistake here. Yes. Okay, first we can run the help and see if this shows up. So for this, let's run our command, make help. And here it is. Under optional arguments, we can see our command, and then the default is bar. So everything we type is in there. Now, we want to start passing this option, right? So the option will be something like this, graph type, and this time we pass line. Okay, and we comment this one out. So here we can see the usages we have. Later we'll test them, but for now let's just try it out. And let's print the arguments to see also that we're passing the right thing. Okay, and we exit. So here we can see what argparse is actually creating. It's creating this namespace with the options, right? An input file, it has the list of inputs, and in graph type now it has line because we passed line here. If we pass here bar, or we pass nothing, which is the default, right? That thing should read bar. So let's test it. And here it is. The default is kicking in, so it's graph type equals bar. So all of this is working correctly. Let's just go back to our line version. And right now we have here the parse. We're passing it correctly, but we need to actually do the work, right? So here we only have one option for bar. So what we need to do is distinguish between the two options. So to do this, we saw that the args variable has the graph type property, and then we can just check if this is bar. We do what we were using before. If this is line, we do the same, but with the line method, which is another method from Plotly. So this will work. We'll see now. And there's the option that the user passes something that is not bar or line, no? Even though in the help it says these are the supported options. So in that case, for now we're going to raise an exception, and we will say like graph type not supported. Okay, so this should cover some of the things. Let's try it and see if actually we had a graph with a line. Let's see, make run. Okay, now let's see in the file system. And here it is, this time with a line. So like this we can create several ones, right? We could, for instance, we could call both of them and have like both versions of the file. So for instance, like this. Well, right now they are called the same. So now for now, we can have the line one, but the user should be able to call different ones. So right now the output is hard-coded, but this will allow some flexibility there. But for now, this is the option we wanted to implement. So basically, we are parsing already some basic options. We get this help for free that you saw. Like all of this, we practically didn't have to do anything for this, and it just outputs correctly. And yeah, and actually we got a new type of graph working. So this is this line one. So let's commit these changes, and we can commit these as first argparse options. And then there's this standard with committing that you get basically like a first line with a summary. You see, if I keep writing here, there's a limit here where it changes color. So basically we want the first line to be smaller than these 80 characters. Then we can leave an empty line, and here we can give as much detail as we want. So this is like a kind of a convention. So I will use this. So first argparse options and new graph type. So these are a good summary. And then here I can put like line graph type added, and then like input file. Maybe I'm overdoing it a bit here because we didn't implement that much functionality, but just to be clear, this helps a lot when collaborating with other people. So input file and graph type options. And we can save this. And let's merge it into master. So we'll go to master, check out, and then merge first options. Perfect.